They told you it's just salt, just water, just a toilet. But here's the truth. Some of the most powerful rituals on earth hide in the ordinary. Not in temples, not in chants, but in moments no one else notices. When you drop salt into the toilet, you're not casting a spell. You're making a choice to release, to cleanse not just your space, but your mind and energy. For centuries, monks, warriors, and mystics all understood this. Salt absorbs what the mind clings to. In ancient Shaolin practice, before meditation, before movement, purification always came first, not just of the body, but of intention. Salt water flowing, releasing. This is not superstition, it's sacred psychology, a language older than words. You're not simply flushing a substance, you're flushing a pattern. In this video, I will show how a small, silent act, done with focus, can shift the energy in your home and life. We'll explore the symbolism of salt, the meaning of water as a spiritual gateway, and how intention combined with action can dissolve what people call curses, patterns of fear, pain, and repetition. Stay with me until the end, because this is not about one act. It's about a way of living, a way of remembering. When you practice it daily, you will feel the change, not outside, but within. You're not powerless, you're just untrained. Training starts now. Most people think release happens in the body. In Shaolin, we know the body is only the surface. True release happens deeper, where thoughts gather, where emotions stick, where silent stories repeat. Every day you flush away what your body doesn't need. You never question it. You don't hesitate. Waste is waste. It doesn't belong inside. But how many people hold emotional waste for years? Resentment, regret, guilt, patterns that serve nothing but continue running through the mind. In the monastery, even cleaning is meditation. Sweeping doesn't just clear dust, it clears the mind. Washing the bowl isn't just preparation for food, it honors presence. The same applies here. Dropping salt into the toilet, watching it dissolve and flushing it away becomes a reminder. I do not need to carry everything. I choose what stays. I choose what leaves. Salt has always been sacred. It purifies, it preserves, it absorbs. Across spiritual traditions, it's used to cleanse, protect, and hold space. Here, in this quiet personal ritual, it becomes more intimate, a conversation between you and your awareness. You tell yourself, I see what I've been holding, and now I release it. This is not about force. It's not about dramatic change. It's about small, consistent reminders to live lighter, move cleaner, think clearer. When the mind treats emotional weight like physical waste, something to recognize and release, you experience freedom not as an idea, but as a daily practice, one handful of salt at a time. A curse isn't always loud. It doesn't need fire, chanting, or someone wishing you harm. Most curses live quietly inside, hidden in repetition, the same reaction, the same mistake, the same story repeated over and over. This always happens to me. That is the real curse. Not an outside force, but an inner loop refusing to break. In Shaolin, we call this a karmic cycle. A loop of energy and action feeding itself. When you are unaware, it owns you. You wake up, react the same way, think the same thoughts, and wonder why nothing changes. You don't break a loop by moving faster. You break it by stopping. Stillness is the beginning of mastery, not absence of motion, but presence of awareness. Sit, breathe, and look within without blame, without fear, and you begin to see the pattern clearly. Once you see it, you are no longer inside it. You are above it. The discipline of a Shaolin monk isn't just in movement. It's in attention. We train to observe ourselves with precision. Every habit, every trigger, every emotional reflex. We don't fight the curse. we study it, we understand its shape, its roots, and then, without drama, we do what it cannot survive. We change, not with violence, not with desperation, but with calm repetition, different breath, different words, a different pause. That's how a pattern dies, piece by piece, through awareness and action. You don't need to shout at your demons. You just stop feeding them, and in the stillness where the loop once lived, a new path quietly appears, not cursed, not chaotic, just clear. Discipline doesn't begin when the bell rings. It begins when you wake up, in how you place your feet, how you breathe before standing. Every moment invites you to return to yourself. Shaolin monks are not monks only in meditation. They are monks folding robes, gathering water, or chopping vegetables in silence. That's the heart of the path. Nothing is too ordinary to be sacred. We were taught this early. The external rhythm reflects the inner. If you wait for the perfect place, time, or setting to be present, you miss the point. The practice is now, always now. Even something as simple as dropping salt into water carries a choice, to rush through it or to feel the weight of what you're releasing, to let the sound of the flush be more than noise, to let it signify that you are done holding what needs to go. That's the shift from routine to ritual, from doing to being. Salt alone isn't powerful. It becomes powerful when it carries intention. Water alone isn't holy. It becomes holy when met with full attention. This is mastery, not perfection, but presence, inner silence watching each act with care. When mindfulness enters your smallest actions, the world changes, not because life changes, but because you do. Training moves into your hands, your breath, your gaze. Even the most ordinary corner of your home becomes a temple, not because it looks sacred, but because you treated it as sacred. Thought without movement is like a seed in dry soil, potential, but nothing grows. Movement without thought is noise, empty of meaning. Mastery lies in the meeting of the two, where intention sharpens action and action brings intention to life. Salt sitting in a jar does nothing. A wish unspoken dissolves in the air. But when you take that salt, place it in water with full awareness, slow your breath and align your thoughts. Your hands move with intention. Slowly, something deeper begins to shift. This isn't superstition, it's alignment. In ancient practice, every movement carried meaning. A bow wasn't just a gesture, it was humility. A breath wasn't just air, it was presence. The body and mind were never meant to act separately. One guides, the other steadies. When you act with clear purpose, the energy shifts, not outside, but inside. You start trusting yourself more. You follow through. You become reliable to your own spirit, and that builds a strength no one can give you from outside. Discipline begins in the body, but its roots grow in the mind. You train both together, not just on the mat, but everywhere, in silence, in the kitchen at night when no one is watching. Especially then, its quiet power, not loud, not flashy, but steady, unshakable. Strength grows one act at a time, a hand reaching for salt, a breath before you pour, a calm thought saying, I choose this, I release this, I return to center. Look around you, the clutter on the floor, the dust in corners, items out of place. They speak not in words, but in feeling. When the outer world is tangled, the inner world rarely stays calm. When the mind is clouded, it begins to tolerate chaos without thought. In Shaolin life, cleaning isn't just about appearance, it's about alignment. A swept floor, an organized room, a quiet corner. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. The space around you isn't separate from you. It holds your thoughts, carries your energy, either supporting your stillness or stirring it. pouring salt may seem small, but it's part of something larger, energetic hygiene, a way to say, I care for what is unseen. I clear the stagnant. I release what I no longer need, not just from the room, but from the invisible layer surrounding you. This isn't obsession, it's awareness. You start noticing the hidden noise in your surroundings. Clutter on your desk becomes tension in your shoulders. A dirty sink feeds quiet frustration. It's all connected, and once you notice, you can't ignore it. So you clean, not just to look better, but to feel clearer. You open space not just in your home, but in your heart. You invite calm by removing what doesn't belong. Over time, when care becomes rhythm, your surroundings stop weighing you down. They start supporting your path, reminding you quietly. Peace isn't found, it's created, one space at a time. Freedom isn't a peak you reach and keep. Real freedom, the kind living in body, breath, and mind, requires rhythm. It requires returning. In Shaolin, nothing is practiced once. We breathe, move, sit, and observe repeatedly, not because we forget, but because we understand. Clarity fades when not refreshed. Dust returns, patterns creep back, the mind drifts to old noise. Discipline matters, not to control, but to free. Cleansing is the same. You can't pour salt once and expect permanent release. You can't let go once and believe it won't return. You pour, release, and do it again, because life continues. Emotions rise, thoughts stick, circumstances shift. You train yourself to reset, not with force, but with rhythm. This is mastery, not dramatic change, but steady return, like waves smoothing stone, like breath softening the body. You grow lighter, not because the world changes, but because you've learned to release consistently, consciously, calmly. Some days it's small, a single breath, a handful of salt, a pause before speaking. Other days it's deeper, like pouring out old weight. The key is showing up, meeting yourself daily, trusting that each act, however small, shapes your transformation. In this rhythm, freedom isn't chased, it's practiced, chosen, lived. When fear rises, most people reach for distraction. Noise, movement, anything to avoid discomfort. They turn on music, scroll endlessly, talk, escape. But this only buries the darkness where it grows. Shaolin teaches differently. When the mind storms, when emotions swell, when bitterness surfaces, the instruction is simple. Sit, be still, breathe. Don't run, don't wrestle. Let it rise fully, then release. This defies what we've been taught, that problems must be fixed, that pain must be avoided. Some of the deepest cleansing happens quietly. Observing without judgment, the darkness dissolves. Salt becomes a symbol, a container for release, a way to name the weight and let it go. But salt is a tool, not the answer. The answer is presence, stillness, the quiet courage to stay with yourself when things feel heavy. Power lies in not reacting, in not needing to scream, explain, or control. That grounded, calm alertness transforms you, not instantly, but moment by moment. You teach your nervous system. We don't need to run. We don't need to fight. We are safe here. So you sit, breathe, release. Not by force, not by drama, but through discipline, presence, and silence strong enough to hold the storm without shaking. The true curse isn't outside. It's not someone's words or unseen forces. The curse is forgetting who you are when noise rises, forgetting breath when fear comes, forgetting your path when comfort tempts more than truth. It begins slowly, skipping practice, rushing through the day, silencing the small voice inside that knows better. Gradually, the distance grows between you and your discipline, between you and your deeper self. That's how the curse roots, not through magic, but neglect. The good news, it's always reversible. One moment of remembrance can bring you back. One breath, one act of presence, one mindful ritual reconnects the broken thread. Rituals matter, not for inherent power, but as reminders of your own. Salt in water, a bow before sitting, a silent pause before speaking. These signal to the mind, return, wake up, be here. In ancient practice, remembrance was everything. Discipline is memory, not punishment. The body remembers movement, the breath remembers calm, the spirit remembers its role. Align with that memory, and the fog clears. The curse fades the moment you return. Every return strengthens you. You realize you are not the chaos, not the fear, not the pattern. You are the awareness behind it, the calm within it, the one who can begin again no matter how far you drifted. That is sovereignty, and that is the path. Mastery isn't loud. It appears in quiet choices, how you breathe through discomfort, clean your space with care, release what no longer belongs. Even a small act, like pouring salt into water, becomes a reminder. I am not trapped. I can start again. Conditions need not be perfect. You don't wait for a special day. Daily life itself becomes your practice, your silence, your strength, your presence, your protection. When old patterns return, don't fight them. Observe, name, release, repeatedly, calmly. The path unfolds quietly, consistently in your hands. Thank you for walking with us. If this teaching resonated, like and subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire. Until next time, stay grounded and keep releasing.